Hey everyone, thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to go over putting together the head. I'm going to do a closed mouth, option. I took a poll on social media, and a lot of you suggested to do the open mouth with the tongue hanging out, the classic venom pose, and which is really cool. Um, I'm a little nervous about trying that. I have some theories on how I would do it. Just I don't believe that my expertise level is quite there yet. So I'm going to do my best. Try to do I'm going to do the closed mouth one. We'll give him a nice big smile. We'll etch out some teeth. I'll show you some of the tools that I use to do this, and we'll see what happens. So let's get started. Okay, so to make the head, it's a pretty simple process. You just start building it up. Now, Venom's head starts with a ball, pretty much at the top of the head, and then his jaw kind of forms out from that. So here I'm working with some really warm clay. So it's actually probably a little bit too warm, but I put it on there, smoothing it into the neck. And it's good to work from reference. You see in the background I've got my iPad up, and just with a profile view, and I'll check the profile versus what I'm putting on. Although it's really hard to find a closed mouth profile of this particular character. I could have drawn one. I opted to go with some stuff that's already out there just to save time. And again, when you're laying down clay, try to lay down the musculature in the direction that it lays. So there's muscles that come off of the cheekbones that attach your jaw and everything. So you want to make sure that you try to get that stuff, because it does affect how the rest of your model goes together. So here I'm just building up the jaw, building up the chin. Again, adding some musculature lines or bone lines, which may or may not stay later, depending on, of course, how you shave things off. Making sure things blend as I go. I just keep working it as I go. There's a great example of how those silicone tip tools really get into places where your fingers are just not going to reach. And now I'm etching in the mouth area, so I'm just trying to get myself an idea of where things are going to go. Again, just looking at the profile, comparing it to the example that I've got up there on my iPad. And so this process is very similar to everything else that we've done. You just start light, and you just build up, and you just keep building up. And it's great if you have some reference material, some concept art that you developed over time, grabbed from offline or what have you. Just try to follow that as closely as possible. So again, I'm trying to etch in the mouth, so I have a good placement of where I want things to go. I'm using the flat tip silicone tipped stylus to kind of just press the clay in and smooth it out as I go. Two different types. This black tipped one has a steel ball on the end, a big ball, as opposed to the other one, which doesn't. So here I'm just cleaning up the edges, getting ready to start adding the lines. So then I'm going to come in with my smaller ball styluses here and just start right along the gum line and just start defining my areas. I know he's got skin in the corner of his mouth, so I just wanted to kind of scratch that in, and then from there I just, like I said, just go along and just start working on each tooth independently. So what I'm doing here is I'm just putting it in, just etching it in, brushing off a little bit of the mess with a stiff bristle brush, And then I'm going to come in here with some wax sculpting tools like this piece right here, this hook, to in this curved spatula to just start defining each tooth. Try to maybe give them some facets and more than just etchings. Just try to actually make something out of it. This can be a very tedious process working on these high detail areas, but it's just one of those things. It's just one of the things that you have to do. You have to get it done. Put on some good music and just enjoy the time that you've got. It's very therapeutic. But this isn't quite looking how I want it to turn out. Okay, so let's stop that right there. That was just a complete fail. So what I found out was that that particular way that I attacked the head was kind of wrong. What I ended up doing, well, why it was wrong was because the head was too big. It was out of proportion. I didn't follow the concept art that I had generated previously. So the whole thing just kind of, well, fell apart, for lack of a better term. So what I did do was I created a small ball. Actually, let me show you. This is the final product here, and I'm fairly happy with how this turned out. A lot of it was done the same general way that I did it initially on the startup. But what I did do was I created a small ball that I actually used for the head, and you see the eyes there are part of that ball, so you can imagine that there's this little white ball. Now what I did use to make that white ball is this bonding putty. You just mix it up. It's 2-part putty, and you mix it up and it cures and becomes firm. So I use that so that I could sketch out the eyes a little bit better, get a little bit better read. And I use that for the head itself. I use the same material for the teeth, little pieces of it, and just rolled it into cones and applied them that way. This is probably the 4th or 5th iteration of the head that I had to go through. It's just trial and error. This works. This didn't work. Let's take it apart and do it again. So again, like I said from the very beginning, this whole thing is a trial and error for me. It's a learning process. So I learned a lot by going through this. I'm sorry I didn't get to show you the final process, but I was kind of discovering it as I was going along, so I didn't know what to show. The initial video, the first part of this video, I guess, is a good don't do example. So again, thanks for following along. Next time we're going to start working on the base before too long. Hit me up if you have any questions. Follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter and Facebook. So go ahead and hit me up if you have any questions, you want to talk about stuff, you want to show me some of your work. I'd be happy to see it. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have more of these videos coming out, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.